Hey everyone, I'm Grant Cohn and I'm joined with Botond today. Botond's in Budapest. How you doing, Botond?
Hey everyone, thanks. I'm fine. I hope you are fine as well, and hope everything is all right in the USA right now with this COVID situation. So, best wishes for the USA.
Thank you, Botond. I love having Botond. I love all my guests, but I especially love Botond because I feel like here in America and in the Bay Area, there's a little bit of an echo chamber where we all kind of hear the same things, say the same things, and are influenced by each other. And I have like some younger guys on my show, and it's like go ahead and disagree with me, guys. You know what I mean? But Botond's just chilling in Budapest. I mean, he's not really influenced by us. He's definitely got his own agenda and he's a free thinker. And I love to check in with Botond right at the end of the week or at the beginning of the weekend, however you want to look at it, and see what's on his mind. So, Botond, before we get into the upcoming game, which is a playoff game, or it feels like one, let's go back real quick and talk about the Niners-Rams game, because I haven't talked to you since they won. So what are your thoughts on that game?
Well, first of all, as usual, I must say that I'm glad to be here. It's an honor to speak about American football, especially for you, because you are the favorite favorite sports journalist for the Hungarian 49ers fans. So.
Well, thank you. I love Hungary is my favorite country in the heart of Europe too. So let me know that.
Thank you. So first of all, about last game. Well, I had about 3 mental breakdowns there while I was watching the game. At first, it seemed like it is going to be easy for us if we can just run the ball, but something happened in the third and the fourth, and at the start of the fourth quarter, and it felt like, okay, we're gonna lose this game. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna just turn off my TV, go back into my bed and chill. But something changed, and I think that is going to be a turning point for this season. That game, especially against the Rams, because the games before, even though we had some close games, it was like we lost all those close games. And at the start of the fourth quarter, in the middle of the fourth quarter, I felt like, okay, we are going to lose this game as well, because everything happened like it happened before. We saw that this year, but something changed, and we could win that game. And I feel like it's going to be a turning point, as I said before. Maybe if we can just grab those feelings that we had on that game, or the team can do that, then we still can be successful this season. That's what I think.
I like how you said something changed. You know what changed? Our perception of Nick Mullens. Because Nick Mullens has done certain good things, but he's the guy who missed Kyle Juszczyk on the second play of the game against the Eagles. Yeah. I mean, he's the guy when he drops back. I think a lot of Niner fans are like, what's going on? Don't throw a pick. Oh my God. And I don't think he inspires a lot of confidence with the fan base or with his teammates, at least this season. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo was kind of had a mystique the last couple of years. I think that's gone. But Nick Mullens hasn't built his yet either. And he's got a losing record as a starter. I think he's 5-8. I think when that game was coming down to the stretch, it's like, oh my God, Nick Mullens against Jared Goff. Who do you think's going to win this game? And it was Nick. It was freaking Nick. And he really rose up. He was clutch. It was a tough assignment for him. He's going against the top defense in the league. He's going against Aaron Donald, who none of his offensive linemen can block. He's got very little options, but he found a way to win the game, or at least not lose it. And he beat Jared Goff on the road. So I think the turning point that is how people look at Mullens, at least maybe even his teammates. Now they know they can do a lot of the same things with Mullens that they did with Jimmy, because both of those quarterbacks have beaten the Rams this year, who are most likely going to the playoffs.
Well, that's right, but I have to say that Nick still has some mistakes. He still makes some poor throws, some poor decisions. But I think it's mainly because he doesn't have the experience as an NFL starting quarterback, or at least he is not constantly an NFL starting quarterback, and that's why he just couldn't develop himself into playing on a high level yet. yet. But this game felt like when he was a record-breaking quarterback in college in some ways, because there are not so many quarterbacks in the league who can win a game after that fourth quarter meltdown by the offense. I'm talking about especially the fumbles that we made, and we were like, okay, we are going to win that game with the running game if we are going to win, because Wilson and Mostert came back, and we were like, okay, that sounds good, that sounds great. But on the other hand, I don't think that that most of the people are looking at Jared Goff as an elite quarterback. I said it sometimes. I'm going to say it this time as well, that as I see him, he's not even a franchise quarterback in the NFL, and people just shouldn't handle him as a franchise quarterback in the NFL. The Rams made a poor decision with his contract, and they just...
I'm not sure he's a starter in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, he might be a backup in a couple of years.
Yeah.
One more thing about this game against the Rams. I've been putting together, I don't know if you've seen any of them, but I've been putting together little highlight reels of the offensive line from this game. When you really watch the coaches tape and get in slow motion and watch each of these offensive linemen, with the exception of Trent Williams, it's amazing that the Niners won this game, because the Niners offensive line is freaking embarrassing. It's not just bad, Botond, it's freaking embarrassing. And the offensive line coach should be embarrassed. Mike McGlinchey should be embarrassed. It's not just that they're getting beat, they're getting whipped, and their technique is terrible. It's like Trent Williams plays with his hands by his knees. And I guess he's athletic enough to pull that off and still get punches in and not get beaten to the punch. None of the other four offensive linemen are athletic enough to do it. And they're all getting beaten to the punch. Look at McGlinchey. His hands are his knees. Joe Staley didn't play like that. I remember the one time Joe Staley got his butt kicked in his career against Clay Matthews, gave up 3 sacks. You go back and watch, Joe Staley had his hands at his knees. He never did that again in his career. So, Mike, if you're watching, pick your hands up. What are you doing? And the offensive line coach, John Benton, what are you doing? Was this all Joe Staley? It's kind of looking like Joe Staley was the offensive line coach the last few years, and now that he's gone, everyone's like, anyway. So let's move on to the future. There was a cool little feature in this game of Richard Sherman at free safety. You know, Robert Saleh, big fan of the show. He listens in and was like, all right, let's give it a shot. It worked. Is that the future? Is Richard Sherman the free safety of the future? And notice I got the little ticker at the bottom so you can remember what the question is.
Well, actually, I'm still a bit concerned about it, but it's not because I don't think that Sherman is mentally capable of being an elite free safety in the NFL. He's one of the greatest ball hawks of all time. Nobody gets more interceptions when he's healthy than him. But I'm concerned, and I wrote it this week into Twitter, that actually I don't think that Sherman can just keep his acceleration and the explosiveness that he had before on a high level. And as we are watching the game films of Sherman playing American football, we can see that he lost a lot of explosion and a lot of speed. And that's the thing that concerns me, because if we want to use him as a single high free safety, I don't think that's going to work. Or it can work, but we must hide his weaknesses with the coverage.
Yeah, I actually think, I think that his future is at safety, and they may want to bring him back as a safety. Now, it depends if Robert Saleh comes back. I don't know what this is, but thanks. It depends. It depends if Robert Saleh comes back. The new defensive coordinator could have a new plan for him. But I think Richard Sherman, he's not out of the woods yet. He came back. He had a good game against Robert Woods. Let's look at what's ahead of him at what he's facing this week. He's got Stephon Diggs. All right. So we saw what Richard Sherman gave up against Devontae Adams and Sammy Watkins in the playoffs. They were the same play. It was man-to-man coverage. He gave up the inside release and got burned for a big play. Can Stephon Diggs do that to him? Then next week, it's Terry McLaurin. The week after that, Amari Cooper. The week after that, DeAndre Hopkins. The week after that, DK Metcalf. So if he can get through that slate and hold his own, then he doesn't necessarily need to move to safety. But I think he's going to give up some plays the way he did last season down the stretch, just because it's a tough position and he's 32 and we all know. So I think he may need to move to safety, and there may be ways the Niners can work around his deficiencies. Like when they want to play single high, they can rotate Jimmy Ward up there. But I still think, I do think even though he's slower, his instincts and his route recognition could get him like actually a step ahead of where Jimmy Ward would be in center field. And I think his interceptions, he could get 4 or 5 picks a year. I kind of like the idea of him at safety. And I'd like to see them continue to experiment with it, so at least they can have a better idea of what they're seeing and not have to guess next year.
Yeah, and when I talked to some guys, it seems like some people are just forgetting the fact that Sherman is an extra smart guy.
Right.
And as you mentioned before, he has super good instinct. He has a lot of experience, and he is a really, really good tackler as a cornerback. And I think that these are the key factors, besides the explosiveness, of course. But
and the thing again about Sherman again is that his best ability is to pick the ball off, interceptions, and he'll get you maybe 4 a year on the left side, but you can kind of avoid him. If you put him in the middle of the field, it's harder to avoid him. He might get 8 interceptions in a year. He might do something really crazy. So it'll be interesting to see. And also, like, if he starts struggling this season with the wide receivers he's facing, because again, I just listed them. They're really good ones. Terry McLaurin, Amari Cooper, they might start shifting them over to safety a little bit more now, because Tavarius Moore made a 2 or 3 egregious mistakes in the last game, which is to be expected from a young guy. But if Moore struggles at safety and Sherman starts struggling at corner, and Mosley's right there, I don't know, they might make a couple more adjustments. They can do stuff. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. All right, let's move on.
Can't wait to see that.
Next ticker. Can Nick Mullens be elite for the rest of the season? Now, this is Botond's question. I didn't call him elite. He wrote this in, so I'm curious to see where you're going with this. Botond, what's the answer here?
Wow. Right now, as I see that, I don't mind that he can be an elite quarterback in the next game.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he can show all his potential against the Cowboys and the Washington football team, because he's going to play against bad teams. I know that if there are just San Francisco fans who are watching us, everyone agrees that we don't like the Cowboys and we should beat them. And we should beat them. And I can't wait to watch what Nick Mullens capable of the Cowboys and the Washington Redskins. Next game is going to be hard, really hard, but not as hard as a quarterback, because the Bills is good, but they don't have that insane pressure rate as the Rams had. And maybe Nick Mullens can shine against the Bills. And after that 2 games, they will just give him a great base for the last 2. Against the Cardinals and the Seahawks. And if he can just get into track and if he is going to get better and better in the next 3 games, I think that he can be elite in the last 2 games, but it depends on the game plan. And we saw that Kyle Shanahan can make every quarterback looking as an elite quarterback. So
that's the point. That's what I'm saying.
And we have to be careful calling a Kyle Shanahan quarterback elite, because it's mainly because of the system.
It's the system. It's the yards after the catch. So that's what I'm saying. Like, can Nick Mullens' numbers be elite the rest of the season, or as you like to say, elite? Absolutely, they can be elite. I think yes. I'm just playing with you, Botond. I like the way
I see.
I'm sorry. Because it makes sense, because the E at the end would suggest that it's a long. You actually pronounce it correctly. I like it. I really like. I'm gonna start saying it that way. But so the numbers for Nick Mullens could be great. But to me, Kyle Shanahan's not really putting him in that situation. He's giving him the Jimmy Gimmies. He's giving him stuff like that. But what he's also doing is calling like the most conservative game plan imaginable. And I say that like taking as much time between plays as possible, running the clock down, snapping the ball between 5 and 0 seconds, letting it which is like, okay, we're trying to win with our defense and win time of possession, but you're letting the defense tee off and then being really predictable on first and second down, run on first down, run on second down. Defense knows it, 3rd and 8. And so maybe that's the smart way to go when you have a backup quarterback and an elite defense or an elite defense. But you're not going to get the great numbers. So what I'd like to see from Kyle is, especially against a team like Buffalo that can score a lot of points against any defense, is to open up the offense a little bit, not necessarily throw downfield a ton. But I talked about this week. No huddle. Hurry up. You get a first down. Don't slow it down. Hurry to the line of scrimmage. You have Nick Mullens, who is a brainiac at quarterback. That's why you have him. He's not there for his arm, his legs, his size. It's there for his brain. So let him use it. Let him get to the line of scrimmage and direct traffic and be a little coach on the field, because he knows the offense better than anyone on the team, better than Juszczyk, better. He's little Kyle Shanahan. Let him do it. It's what he did in college. I know you're afraid to go hurry up with your backup quarterback. It may seem crazy, but I think Nick Mullens, that actually could suit his skill set the best, and it could get some elite numbers from him. That's the way I look at it. Also, a couple other things. Play action. You get to the line of scrimmage. You get this team on their heels. Play action. His quarterback rating in play action, I think, is 109, and his quarterback rating without it is like 79. So, yep, that's it.
Yeah. Well, actually, what I think of Nick Mullens right now is that if I'm trying to feel like and see things like Kyle Shanahan does, then I would say that he's afraid because Nick is just a backup quarterback. But as a head coach, if you are stuck with your backup quarterback and you still want to go to the playoffs, you have to call plays that strengthens the positive things about your backup quarterback. And we saw some flashes of it, because we saw a lot more passes into the deep zone, into the middle of the field.
That's great.
But
there's more.
I think that we still didn't see all the things that Kyle Shanahan is capable of with Nick Mullens. Yeah. And as you mentioned before, first of all, why not trying no huddle offense, or at least up tempo offense or something like that?
Yeah, the thing with no huddle is you can hurry to the line of scrimmage, slow down. You don't have to necessarily go light speed. You can take your time. And the Rams do it a lot. The Rams will get that first down of the drive, and then boom, hurry to the line of scrimmage. And you don't have to call it like amazing gadget plays. It's just, let's get to the line of scrimmage and run. Let's get to the line of scrimmage and do a play action pass and keep the defense from catching its breath, lining up correctly, substituting, knowing what they want to do, calling an exotic blitz, make them call like just something vanilla, cover 3 with a 4-man rush, stuff like that. It seems to work for McVay. He gets way more out of Jared Goff than he has any business getting out of him. So I think the Niners can do the same thing, because I still look at Nick Mullens as a better quarterback than Jared Goff. I have no respect for Jared Goff. That guy just throws a pretty ball. He's not a competitor. He's not tough.
Yeah.
We got a question. Let's take a little audible and answer this question. Let me get rid of this banner too. All right. Could 49ers fans really make a legitimate public push for Zach Wilson or one of the other top 5 quarterbacks? Do you think John Lynch will be susceptible to that kind of noise at this stage in his tenure? Well, it's Kyle making the pick. It's not John. First of all.
First
of all.
And the other thing, you mentioned before that Kyle is going to make the pick.
Kyle's going to do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
He's got a 6-year extension, man. He's not going to listen to us.
It doesn't matter what the fans are saying. It doesn't matter what we are talking about when we are trying to give him some tips or things like that. Maybe, I'm sure that he is watching the show. I'm sure that he is listening to you with your other guests as well.
No doubt.
And I think as well that maybe he just thinks of some of your tips and other things like that. But I'm pretty sure that nobody can affect Kyle Shanahan right now. Nobody can say him what to do.
No.
Yeah, and if we are going to make a public push for a quarterback, for example, Zach Wilson, or as we said before, Kyle Trask, then I'm pretty sure that he's going to do the opposite.
The opposite.
What you are saying.
I agree.
So
I agree. He's got a 6-year extension. He can do whatever the hell he wants. Real quick, I mean, I don't think what he wants to do is trade up for Zach Wilson. I don't think he thinks he needs to mortgage his future for one player. Plus, I don't think he likes the idea of pumping up one kid's ego like that. Like they did that for RG3 and he couldn't stand that. And he was much more into the 4th round pick, Kirk Cousins. Something there. I think the more I think about it, I like Kyle Trask. I think he's a safe pick. I don't think Kyle Shanahan cares who's safe. His job's not on the line. He's going to swing for the freaking fences, Botond. And I think that means Trey Lance. And the reason I say that is this week, I think it was yesterday, a couple of days ago, someone asked him about Josh Allen. Did you scout him? Were you thinking about him? What'd you coming out? And he said, in 2018, we had Jimmy. I was really hoping he would come out in 2017, which was an interesting thing to say. It's like, oh, really? So you would have taken Josh Allen in 2017 and that's who you like. So you like a quarterback like that. And then you go back and look at Josh Allen in 2017, 1 year starting experience, less than 400 career passing attempts. It seems like Kyle doesn't really care. And if that's how we felt about Josh Allen in 2017 after one starting year, then he's going to love Trey Lance too. And if Trey Lance is there when they pick, I think that's going to be the guy because they're both kind of like toolsy, athletic guys who did get under center and do some play action but had no experience.
Wow, that's
Lance.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And that makes me question the person of Kyle Shanahan because, well, if we are thinking of the draft, if we are thinking of a starting quarterback who we want to draft next year, you want to have a safe pick with a pretty high upside.
I agree. That's Kyle Trask.
But with this Josh Allen thing, Kyle Shanahan is thinking of it like he wants the guy with the greatest upside, and when there's something in that guy that he loves, then nobody cares of anything else. So, well, we will see what will happen next year, but it makes me concerned.
What scares me about it is, look, I like Trey Lance, but he's not the athlete that Josh Allen is. He's not as athletic as Josh Allen. He's not as athletic as Kyler Murray. And he's coming into the league with 300 and something pass attempts, 380. That's it. I mean, he could work out, but Kyle Shanahan better be really good at developing quarterbacks. And I don't think he can start right away. I mean, I don't even think he can play as a rookie. The way I look at it is the Niners next year should be a contender, no matter who their quarterback is, because of the weapons they have, the defense they have, and the head coach they have. So if you start a rookie right away, you're not winning the Super Bowl. I mean, most likely. It's never been done, ever, in the history of the league. So if you bring in Trey Lance, that's like drafting Patrick Mahomes and just sitting him for a year. I mean, you can do that. Chiefs did it. But he better be Patrick Mahomes here too.
Yeah, so true.
So true. All right, let's move on to the next question. Let me get the banner up. All right. What did the win over the Rams, the most recent one, say about Jimmy Garoppolo?
Well, last time when we beat the Rams, this year it was mainly of the Jimmy Gimmies that Kyle Shanahan gave into the hands of Jimmy Garoppolo. How he artificially built up his stats and things like that. It wasn't Jimmy Garoppolo who won that match. It was mainly the other players. Okay, there was one good pass to George Kittle on 4th down that ended in a touchdown. But this game was slightly and not so slightly different. At first, it was like, okay, we are going to do the same as we did against the Rams, and it will work. It worked until those ugly fumbles. And after that, Kyle Shanahan just gave the game ball into the hands of Nick Mullens. And last time he did it with Jimmy Garoppolo, it was a loss in the Super Bowl. And this time, when he did that with Nick Mullens, it was a win. And what I think of it is, right now, as we see the 49ers, especially after that last game, after those interviews with the players, I'm pretty sure that team changed in a single week or in 2 weeks with the bye week, if I'm counting that. And they were like, they are getting back into that winner's mentality that they had last year. And that they couldn't get back, that they couldn't continue to have this year. And they didn't have it with Jimmy Garoppolo, but right now they have it with Nick Mullens. And actually what I think of when I'm thinking of it is, with that, I'm pretty sure if Nick Mullens and the 49ers can win the next few games, if they are going to get into the playoffs, then we just don't have to talk about the future of Jimmy Garoppolo with the 49ers anymore, because that will just tell the end of the story. No Jimmy Garoppolo next year. That's what I think of.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. Like, he just beat the Rams, Nick Mullens. If he beats the Bills, then he's got Washington and Dallas. Those look like wins. If he wins, I mean, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but if he beats the Bills, there's a real possibility he wins 4 games in a row. Let's say Jimmy Garoppolo's quote unquote healthy, week 16. How do you go back to Jimmy Garoppolo when Nick Mullens is coming off a 4-game winning streak? Now that's way down the line, but these are things that could potentially happen. And this is all predicated on what happens Monday night. It's a lot at stake. Jimmy might not get another opportunity to play for this team if Nick Mullens keeps playing well. Yeah. So, I mean, I know Niner fans aren't super excited about the way some of the throws he made and how it was all Deebo Samuel, but that's what Jimmy Garoppolo does too. And I don't think the Niners are need their quarterback to make jaw-dropping athletic plays for them to feel like they can win. They just need to feel like the guy can execute Kyle's offense. As long as the guy can execute Kyle's offense, the Niners are confident. And for whatever reason, Jimmy wasn't really executing it at a high level this year. No throws down the field. I mean, Ayuk was jumping up and down, stamping his feet. He seemed frustrated. Jordan Reed seems a little frustrated with Nick Mullens right now, but Jordan Reed doesn't really matter. I mean, it's Ayuk and Deebo who matter. So they seem energized by Nick Mullens. They're going to get the ball down the field. Richie James gets the ball down the field. I don't know. I think I'm with you on that. There was something like a cloud hanging over Jimmy Garoppolo this year. He lost the Super Bowl. You know, how's he going to do? How's he going to bounce back? He's hurt. Is he? Now it's over with. Now it's like Nick Mullens. He is what he is. He's upbeat. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what we can do. It's not about Jimmy anymore. It's about us again. That's the key. It's not about Jimmy and his ankle and his feelings and his recovery and his development. It's just about us now.
Yeah, and don't forget that Nick Mullens didn't have Ayuk last week.
That's right.
He's going to have Ayuk this week. And Nick Mullens loves to throw the ball downfield, as you mentioned before. And with Kyle Shanahan, they are doing that a lot of times. And we talked about it last week. I want to talk about it again. That Deebo Samuel proved himself as a receiver as well last game.
Oh, my God.
Like he did last year against the Cardinals. And I think that right now we are in a really, really good position with our wide receivers because they can do everything more than a normal wide receiver does. Okay, they are not an elite wide receiver in the 50-50 balls, but they are still, I think, close to elite.
Well, Ayuk might be there. I mean, Bourne can do stuff like that. You saw Deebo Samuel had one drop on a ball that was a little above him.
Yeah,
he's never going to have like a big catch radius, but everything else about him. Before we move on to the Bills game, a quick question from Kevin Wang. Kevin, I went on Ronbo's show and asked him about you. He said, I stay away from Grant because he scares me with some of the things he says about Jimmy. Why won't you go on the show to debate Nick versus Jimmy? I can't go on his show. He has to invite me on his show. I've been on his show before. I like Ronbo. Ronbo, if you want to invite me, we can talk about it. If you're scared, don't invite me. If you're scared, go to church. All right. Let's move the hell on. All right. Can the Niners do to the Bills what they did to the Rams?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, they can do that if they are going to be decent on both 3 phases on the game, or at least in 2 phases of the game. But we saw that before, that if we are going to lose just 1 phase of the game, we can still lose a match. So I'm going to be sure that we are going to win the game if we are going to be good and better than the Bills in both 3 phases. Most of the people are saying that the Bills are elite team in the NFL.
No, don't do that. See, that's why I wasn't going to say it. I liked it. Oh, man. All right. Okay.
Okay. Elite.
People are allowed to be different. Okay. All
yep.
right. All right.
Yep. But how I see them, that they are really good on the offensive side of the ball, but they are pretty average on the defensive side of the ball. And their defense is good, mainly because they have an effective offense, which is capable of long plays, but they can still control the game clock. And that's a huge factor. We talked it before when we were talking about the 49ers defense, and we have to say the same thing about the Bills defense. But the main difference between the two defenses right now, that I think that the 49ers have much more of a talent on this defense right now. We have a way better defense, and I don't see the pass rush that can crush our offensive line.
I want to come back to the thing you said at the beginning of this answer. The 3 phases. That's really smart. I mean, you're always smart, but that one is it's important because it's why they lost to the Saints. If you step back and look at the Niners, they beat a playoff team in the Rams. They should have beat the Saints, but they beat themselves. Why? With the interceptions from Nick Mullens, sure. Also, the turnovers on special teams. Their special teams play was atrocious. And their offense isn't good enough right now for them to win just with defense. They got to win defense and special teams. And I think you could argue that a big reason they won the Rams game is special teams. Yeah. They didn't commit any fumbles. Trent Taylor had a couple nice returns, and Robbie Gould was 3 for 4 with his field goals. So if they can have a repeat performance like that from special teams, great. But I don't believe in Trent Taylor. He had one good game. I feel like, dude, let's just retire. Retire your jersey, put it in the rafters, give him a parade. He did it. One good game. Don't ask for 2 more. I'm sorry. I would feel a lot more comfortable if they would just put Brandon Ayuk at punt returner and kick returner and be done with it. I honestly say I would feel like much more confident picking the Niners to win this game if I knew they were going to make Ayuk the full-time returner.
Well, Shanahan said before the Rams game that it's a possibility to put Brandon Ayuk into the returner position. And I think that right now, with the COVID issue gone with the 49ers, they will do that. At least he will try Brandon Ayuk in. They will try Brandon Ayuk in the returner position.
Botond like that. That's joke landed. Joke landed.
Okay.
Some bacon and syrup for some poutine.
Made my day. I like bacon and syrup as well.
Yeah, so Brandon Ayuk, put him at punt return. It's never going to happen. But if they lose another game because of special teams, because of Trent freaking Taylor, I'm just going to lose it. I'm gonna get on Periscope, YouTube Live, and just start throwing things. I'm just gonna. I don't know. I don't want to see it happen. I don't want to see Trent Taylor lose a game for the rest of those 52 guys. All right. Nope. Okay. Let's get to the next banner. Hold on. It should be a more seamless transition. All right, so pick a winner. Who do you think is going to win this game and why? What are some of the key factors? What are you looking for? What are you expecting to see?
Well, as a fan, I would pick the 49ers. But every time I did that this year, we lost. Last week, we won because I picked the Rams.
That's exactly why the Niners won. I read that they were passing around your prediction. They were like, screw this Botond guy.
Of course. So right now, I will pick the Bills against us, but it's mainly because maybe they are in a better form than we are right now. And I'm a bit concerned about Josh Allen and his long balls against our defense. And I'm a bit afraid of Stefan Diggs and Beasley because they are a pretty good duo in wide receiver spot. I think the key is to keep that offense on the bench.
Yeah.
Be on the field as much as possible. Maybe just with Brandon Ayuk returning, do some more Jimmy Gimmies. Be an effective running team because Bills aren't so good against rushing this year. I think enemy teams against them are averaging about 4.7 yards an attempt.
It's true.
and that's a high number. I think if the offensive line is going to block for the running backs, we can just win that game by running the ball. So I think that's the key. And on the other hand, we have to think of something against Josh Allen, but I'm pretty sure that Saleh can do that because he did a wonderful job this year, and I think that he is capable of trying to find out something against that Bills offense, and with Sherman returning onto the defense, we have the chance to win that game.
I'm picking the Niners to win. I know you don't feel that confident. You feel like you might be jinxing them. I'm picking the Niners to win. I think that the Bills defense isn't that good. That they know they're vulnerable against the run. They know the Niners are a run-first team. They're going to sell out to stop the run, and I think they're going to be really vulnerable to the play-action pass. And I think Kyle Shanahan's going to shred them. Kyle, with the help of Nick Mullens and Brandon Ayuk, I think Ayuk's going to have a monster game. It's going to, I think down the stretch, it's going to be Debo Samuel 1 week, Ayuk the next. And when Debo goes off, the upcoming team's going to be like, okay, we got to stop this guy. And then boom, Ayuk. And then he goes off and the next team's like, oh, we got to stop Ayuk. And then boom, back to Debo. Niners used to do that with Crabtree and Bolden all the time back in 2013. I think they're going to win. I think the Bills offense isn't quite as good without John Brown. They still have Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley, but I think the Niners are going to win this game. I feel fairly confident about it. The only thing that could really blow this to me is Trent Taylor. So Trent, get a good night's sleep, focus, see the ball into your hands. You know what I'm saying? Call out loud if you're doing it. No, catch the ball all the time. Don't do that thing where I'm not going to answer this question, but it's funny. Hold on, because we got more serious stuff. Kevin, you're taking over, man. You are the MVP of the comment section. I probably just made your head too big. I shouldn't have said that. But Kevin, you're doing a good job. I appreciate you. Hold on. Next question. I like this question a lot. And I think we're going to disagree on this one. Are the Bills the ultimate test for the 49ers defense? Let's debate it. Let's talk.
Nope.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
I don't think. Some people will say that it is because of Josh Allen, because of the deep balls, because how he runs the ball, because they are just not a one-dimensional team, and because right now it feels like Josh Allen is a much more mobile quarterback than Russell Wilson. But I still think that against the Seahawks, we are going to have a harder time, but the ultimate test for this defense is going to be against the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. The thing about Josh Allen, I mean, the Niners do have issues with mobile quarterbacks, but they didn't have any problems with Cam Newton. I mean, like the Niners have a very fast defense, but they're not fast enough and quick enough to stop Kyler Murray. No one is. Same with Russell Wilson. Like all the Niners' speed is kind of negated because they can't catch those little guys. They can catch Josh Allen. They can catch Cam Newton. I mean, I don't think Josh Allen's going to run for a bunch of yards. Plus, I think he's got a little bit of a messed up ankle. And I think that the stat is without John Brown, that offense is averaging about 20 points per game. So they're missing their X factor number 3 wide receiver deep threat who stretches the field. And I don't know if Josh Allen's going to be able to extend plays the way Carson Wentz did when he beat the Niners this year. So I think really, as you say, the big test for the Niners are going to be week 16 and week 17. Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, DK Metcalf and Russell Wilson, 4 guys who have torched that defense this year at times. Yeah. And they're going to need to get some revenge. This is going to be a tune-up, but this isn't necessarily the biggest test facing them coming up.
Yeah.
Kevin Wang will answer the question. Bigger waste is roster space, D. Fraud or Mike McFloppy?
D. Fraud, but just because of the cap space.
Yeah, I mean, they pay him like twice what they pay McFloppy, and he's never on the field. So at least McFloppy is there getting beat, flopping around. D. Ford is just hanging out on the sideline or not at all, being like, "Hey, man, you should have blocked that. Man, you should have done better than that. I would have blocked. I would have got that."
Yeah.
So yeah, good question. Probably the greatest question of all time. All right, back to the banners. Hold on. This is our final topic. Is it time to say goodbye to Robert Saleh? It looks like he's the top candidate right now. He looks like the hottest name, hotter than the enemy.
Well, it makes me cry inside, but I have to say that maybe it's time to say goodbye to Robert Saleh. Maybe these are the last games when he's just the defensive coordinator. He did a decent job. He just getting better and better every week. He proved himself, although the Niner fans just tore him apart last year sometimes, and this year at the start of the year as well. But well, he's not like Mike McGlinchey. He's not going to make a tweet saying that he is still here, but he shows and proves himself week to week. I think that he's a perfect candidate, and it's mainly because he's not like Kyle Shanahan. A lot of the people are saying that I don't like Kyle Shanahan. In some parts of his of himself, I don't like him, but I do think that he's a really good coach. But what I think of is Robert Saleh is a much better head coach material, and what I think of is that we are going to say goodbye to him after this season, and I just couldn't say anything bad about him. I just wish him the best, and I'm pretty sad that he is not going to be the head coach of the 49ers.
Yeah, it does look like he's on his way out. Although it's a week-to-week thing, and if his defense flops the next 5 weeks, it's not going to happen. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen. I don't think anyone expects the Niners defense to suddenly fall apart because he's too good. One thing, though, I think he should have his pick almost. And I don't know if the Chargers are going to fire Anthony Lynn, but if they do, Saleh should go to the Chargers. I know he's from Michigan, but that job with the Chargers is the best. If they could get that, I mean, you got a young franchise quarterback on a rookie deal. Give me that job. I mean, Matt Stafford's fine and all, but he's horribly overpaid. He's paid like he's Peyton Manning, but he's not. He's Matt Stafford. I don't like that. But still, that's the second best job. If he could get that, that would be fantastic. And then after that, I would rank Houston. They have some issues in Houston, but still they got Deshaun Watson. Yeah. One thing I want to say, though, I don't know if you saw this in Budapest, but yesterday there are like a bunch of lobbyists and politicians in Michigan who sent a letter to the Lions lobbying and urging them to hire Robert Saleh, which is like, wow, what an amazing boost and endorsement. But if the way I look at it, and I love Robert Saleh, I would tell him this. I got to be honest, Robert. I don't know if that was a good call. I mean, I don't know how the owners in Detroit of the Lions think, but when you have politicians trying to influence private business, I don't know, man. If I were Robert and I heard that was going to happen, I would have called him and been like, yo, don't do that. I can get this job on my own. I don't need you to do that. Please don't lean on this team. I mean, it's not like you're a writer saying, hey, Robert Saleh's good. You're politicians. You can't be pulling stuff like that. That actually was like, ooh, I hope that didn't poison his chances to get the Detroit job. And if you're a Niners fan, you might think, ooh, maybe that poisoned his chances to get the Detroit job and he'll come back. To me, that was like, ooh, I wish if I were Saleh, I'd be like, don't do that. Do not. I don't need it. I don't need it. My work speaks for itself. I'm going to get this on merit. Not that he won't get it on merit, but guys, I mean, who knows what political party the owner of the Lions is? Maybe the people who were lobbying were the other party. I don't know. Robert, I hope you know what you're doing. If I were your agent, I would have been like, yo, let's just get Grant Cohn to write a real nice.
Yeah, but on the other hand, if we are not going to win the Super Bowl this year, then he is going to have an unfinished business with the 49ers. So, true. Robert, if you can't do that this year, do that next year. Please stay here.
And if that Chargers job gets open, don't be crazy. Don't go back to Detroit just because you're from there. I mean, it's LA, dude. Detroit gets real cold. I mean, you know that. Hold on. Final question, and it's kind of related. Is Warner more loyal to Saleh than the 49ers? Look, this is not answerable. But the reason he asks it is because Warner's going to be a free agent eventually. He's going to be very expensive. And if Saleh goes somewhere else and the Niners try to pull what they pulled with DeForest Buckner, where they're like, you're great, we love you, but we don't love you $20 million a year. That, it's not that kind of love. Would Saleh's team be in the weeds being like, all right, well, then just send him to us then. We'll take him. I don't know. It's impossible to answer, but it's an interesting question because when you listen to Warner, he is Robert Saleh Jr. Everything. The way they talk, the things they say.
Yeah. But how I see Fred Warner right now is that he is who a 49er player should look like. He is everything what we are expecting from a player who is playing for this team right now as a fan. And it will be a huge kick in the face if he just goes somewhere else next year. I would be shocked and devastated. I was a big fan of him when we got him on the draft, and he proved my truth when I said people that he is going to be a star in the NFL.
You just cracked me up when you said the kick in the face. I don't know if you've ever seen the YouTube video of Bas Rutten teaching bar fighting. He's like 15 years old. He's this Dutch MMA fighter, and he would just do like the most ridiculous suggestions, like boom, kick in the face, boom, kick in the groin. Anyway, probably 2 people in here have seen the Bas Rutten teach us bar fight. Anyway, with Warner, he's loyal to Saleh. I think he's also very loyal to DeMeco Ryans, the linebacker coach who has really developed him. And if DeMeco Ryans becomes a defensive coordinator, I'm sure Warner would love to be here too. Warner looks like the leader of this team. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's taken ownership of this team and he loves it. Why would you want to go? He should be here for 15 years, the same way Buckner should have been here for 15 years, the same way Staley was here for. He's that kind of guy. He's in the Staley class. Don't you get cute with him. Don't let Saleh take him wherever he's going because that's a cornerstone player.
Yeah, we have to keep him. And you know what? I feel like we should keep Richard Sherman as well next year.
Hey, I could see it. Hey, if he's
same reason.
Fair enough. If he's not too expensive, if he's interested in dabbling in a little more safety, pick him up, sign him up. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's the end of the show today, Botond, unless you got something else you want to talk about. Can I see that helmet behind you? It looks like North Carolina.
Yeah. Nope, it was my last helmet that I used here in Hungary.
Wow. Let's see the side. One. Nice. And what does that say? OE?
OE. It's University of Óbuda. It's a university here in Hungary, in our capital city of Budapest. And that was the first university team here in Hungary, I think, which was made and played officially American football. And I was a part of it, and I'm still pretty proud of it because I had some coaching job on that team as well. So,
nice.
I kept my helmet.
That's cool. Well, thanks for showing it to us. Thanks for coming on, as always. And we'll be back next Saturday.
Yeah.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Goodbye.
Bye.